good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning. Celebrating a brand new year, celebrating a brand new year. We are 12 days into a brand new year, a brand new year. Wow, 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 wow. Well, look at all the beautiful people out there. Mr. McGowan, sir, good morning. Miss Joyce Brewer, good morning. Miss Lope, good morning. Mr. Regional Director, Mr. Julian Lewis, good morning, sir. Wow, Mr. Al Randolph on time today and early. Mr. Al Randolph in Oakland, California. Regional Vice President Platinum, Miss Drowson Driscoll is on the call with us this morning. God bless you, young lady. Thank you so much for being back with us. Hey, Angelina, good morning. Thank you so much for this morning. I appreciate it. Miss Caroline Baker, thank you. Miss Celia in Woodland, California, thank you. David Wright, good morning, sir. Miss Akinko Hakari over in Japan, good morning, dear. Thank you for so much being on here. Mr. Harrison Mills, man, revelation went off with you this morning. Miss Walker, thank you so much for joining the call this morning. Mr. Jordan Say down in Nashville. Mr. Daryl Ranson in Nashville. Miss Jones in South Carolina, good morning, dear. Miss Kathleen Williams, oh, I got your text. Thank you so much. I have to put that on my list of things. Hold on a second. Let me put this down here. I don't want anybody left behind. So let me write a note to myself because I did get your text. Thank you, dear. That was a blessing this morning when I got up early. I was up at 3:30, listening to podcast, 4 o'clock, out the door, 5:15, back in for my walk. How many heard Friday's call on my leadership, Saturday, my leadership call, how to get 13 months in a year. Some of y'all get 12. I showed you on Saturday. Should have been on that. That was powerful. Wow, that's right. Getting up 2 hours or extra early. I'm gonna lay the rest of the video. Mr. Jordan Say in Nashville, good morning, sir. I said that. Miss Jones, Miss Kathleen, Marie, San Diego, thank you so much. Vernell Hughes out in South Carolina, thank you, thank you, thank you. Man, she was on here a good 45 minutes early today. She didn't want to miss nothing. See, I love new people, but if you don't tell your new people about the call, they don't get on here. Blessing. 45 minutes early because I was already on here, taking care of business on the other coast. Mr. Bill Bailey, good morning, sir. Good morning, good morning. Mr. Belinda Batiste, good morning. I'm going to call you after the call a little bit later, Miss Linda, Miss Batiste. Thank you so much. Frank and let's go to Elk Grove. Frank and Patricia Bowman. How you guys doing up in Elk Grove, California? Thank you so much. Miss Anna Hanez out in Texas. Thank you, dear, for the call. Miss Zoe Duffy, part of the bakery organization. Miss, who's this? Miss Ursula Allen, good morning, dear. Miss T. Hayes, good seeing you. Sensational. Where's she at? I got to see those glasses. You know, I got to, come on, y'all. Let's look at them glasses. Let's look at those glasses. Where's she at on there? There she is. Oh, Lord have mercy. That girl, I tell you, her and Mr. Nelson, their glasses. I tell you what. All right, Mr. Sam Foster down in Dallas with the T.D. Jakes Ministries. TJ up in Ohio, good morning. Pastor Thomas is jumping on right now. Mr. Marvin Carter, Regional Director out of Fresno. Michael Jenkins, it's good seeing your name on the list now. A lot more, sir. Miss Mary Perez, keep coming, dear, keep coming. Miss Natalie Perra in Las Vegas, thank you, dear. Miss Pat Robinson, I'll talk to you a little bit after the call too, Miss Pat Robinson. Thank you so much. You guys are superstars. Hey, Eugene, I'm sorry. Eugene Cage, good morning, sir. Thank you so much. Miss Evelyn Phibbs, we missed you this morning, Miss Evelyn Phibbs. Good morning. Miss Eileen down in San Diego. There she is, smiling. How you doing? Mr. Corey Alexander in Fresno. Good morning. Debbie, good morning. Mr. Ed Navarre, we missed you too this morning, sir. Come on, come on, come on. Got to get up early to get with it. Thank you so much. Mr. Freddie Sherman, good morning, sir. Wow. Chris McDowell, good morning, sir. Mr. Harlan Gaston, thank you, sir. Mr. Ismail, que paso, senor? All right. And Miss Castro down in the Phoenix area. Wow. Woohoo. Good call lined up. Man, I don't know about you guys, but I'm fired up. I got up this morning early, and I want to thank you all for being on the call today. Just a word of, no, I may not even talk about that, but we just lost another great person here in Vegas, one of our billionaire gentlemen who just passed away, Mr. Shelton Outland in Vegas, who owns the Outland Hotel on the Strip. Big house right the street from me. His kids and my kids went to school together. He's got about 15 jets, and the Israeli government has soldiers that's just to guard him. You guys, there's so much wealth around you. God, I just got to get you guys there. There's so much. And I'm not talking about lifestyle. I'm just talking about a neighbor up the street here for me. He just, yeah. He made all the news today because he's a big, big deal. You know, question, you got to be a big deal this year. That's the whole idea. Get you guys to be big, big deals. His house is like, I think it's like 62,000 square feet. Yeah. Got like 17 jets. All the blue and white. Yeah, he's got his own. I mean, yeah, like that. So yeah, my prayers have been going up for him and his family this morning. But more important than that, you're here. You're here. My job as your sensei is to get you to be a senior vice president all the way up. Anyway, today we got a great call lined up. I just wanted to throw that out there just to let you know there's so much out here and there's so much that you could do. And I just want to pray for every one of you that your family's safe, you be safe. But more importantly, you know, the other day, work is hard. Work so hard that your signature becomes a what? Autograph. His signature was definitely an autograph. Work your business hard enough that your signature become an autograph. Our guest speaker today, I know after yesterday, saw his counterpart bring it like she did. He went back and probably recalibrated a few things, but we're so excited. I can't wait. Matter of fact, let me get my notepad out because I got to get my journal to get ready to take notes on thus say what Mr. Julian Lewis is going to say today, because we talked about that. So I'm excited. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great privilege and honor and esteem young man who's been in San Diego. I have a great deal of respect for. He's a single father. Take care of the beautiful daughter. She's 15. I saw her the other day on something that I saw, and she's just growing up. I mean, she's growing up to a beautiful young lady. She's a beautiful teenager. I'm going to get him a shotgun for her for Christmas next year. Yeah. Without further ado, the great, the one and a combo, the one and only from San Diego, California, the man with the biggest organization I know in all of San Diego, the great Mr. Julian Lewis.
Good morning, sir. How are you today?
I'm doing fine, sir. Oh my God, we're matching on colors. Look at that.
I like it. It's clean. It's white, crisp. I love it. I love it. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say before I get started, how much respect that I have for Mr. Thomas, not just because he's a senior vice president, not just because he's been in the circle of champions, which is the highest level you can get to in all of ACN, not just because he's done that for over 10 years, not because he's been in Success Magazine multiple times, back to back to back, year after year. See, those things are a reflection of what he does. It's not who he is. Who he is a father. Who he is someone who's thoughtful. Who he is someone who's loving and kind, and he loves you enough to push you to be the best person you can be. And that's who I know as a friend, as a mentor, as a father figure. And I love him. And I want to let you guys know, if you have an opportunity to work with him personally, directly, please don't take it for granted, because he is a living legend. And you have the ability to be able to really glean information and just life experience from someone like that. Don't take it for granted. So thank you so much, sir, for everything you do for us as a, as a team, and for me as a person, as a human being. I appreciate you, sir. And
thank
today,
you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Absolutely. And today I'm very excited to bring some information that I think is going to help everyone to move forward and better yourself in 2021. And this is just something that we all should be able to do. But before I get into that, just real brief, most of you know me, but my background, simple. I was working a job as a senior systems engineer. I was working extremely hard at my job. I was working about 80 to 90 hours a week, averaging 50 to 60 flights a year. And that became a problem when my fiance and I found out we were going to have a baby girl. I didn't see myself as a type of father that was only there financially and not physically. And so I wanted to make sure I was in her life. I was there for even though I was traveling, I was busy. I was there for every single doctor's appointment before my daughter was born. I was there. Through everything. I was scared that I wouldn't be able to be there to see my daughter born because I was working so much. And I asked my job if they could get me home 3 weeks before Christmas 2005, December 2005. Those 3 weeks, my boss promised I'd be home. Those 3 weeks turned into, no, we can't get you home 3 weeks, but we get you home in 2 weeks. Those 2 weeks turned into, no, we can't get you home in 2 weeks, but we'll at least get you home 1 week before Christmas. Mind you, my daughter was supposed to be born around Christmas time, okay? They got me home 3 days before Christmas because that's how business works when you're an employee. What's important for them is important for them, and it has nothing to do with you. I was just a number no matter how high up I was. And so I was 3 days before Christmas Eve, I was in the busiest mall in San Diego, Fashion Valley Mall at the time, looking for Christmas presents. I physically bumped into my first mentor in this industry. And on January 4th, that new year, I signed up in the business. And something beautiful happened 15 years ago today. My daughter was born. And ladies and gentlemen, she's 15 today. She's the reason. She's my reason why. She's the reason. I woke her up because she didn't have to get up early, but I woke her up at 8 a.m. and she's all groggy. And I said, baby, I just want to let you know that, I love you. I know it's early, but I just want to let you know I'm so proud of you. Happy birthday. And even though she's groggy, she's sweet. We have a connection that's been built over years of me being able to be home, because I worked my tail off in this business outside of working 80 to 90 hours a week. And look, I have a pretty good camera. You probably caught that I got a little teary-eyed thinking about it. It's because if you're a girl dad, you know exactly what that means. And what I can tell you is, I want to share with all of you, because this is a special day for me, my family, what I did, because it's something that I learned years ago, and it's going to tie into social media. It's going to tie into what I'm teaching you guys about in January. But what I did is something I learned years ago, is not to worry about being perfect. I knew that I needed to learn ACN. And I knew that I didn't have a lot of time. I also knew that the best way to learn, if you were taking notes, is to, number one, be positive, have a positive outlook, okay? Write that down. Number two, throw yourself in massive action. And I'm going to talk about a few reasons why, but those are the 2 points we're going to be discussing today. And I'm going to play a quick video about negative thinking, because I need you guys to understand the power of your thoughts as it relates to positive thinking and negative thinking. So as I bring this up, make sure you're somewhere you can jot this down or take a note on this. And in the chat, I'll post where you can get the video so that you can access that as well.
Negative thinking was the most powerful element that our players were combating. That negative thinking was weaponizing them against them. So how's negativity carried? Well, is it your internal thoughts? Well, if you're dealing with trying to change internal thoughts, then you got to go to affirmations, and you got to go to imagery, you got to go to visualization. Very difficult skills. Well, we started to look at the externalization. Well, if somebody says something out loud, it's 10 times more powerful than if they think it. And then as we started to study the data, particularly data that was just reinforced by Christine Porath from Georgetown and Harvard, that negativity is a multiple of 4 to 7 times more powerful than positivity. So think about that. If I say something out loud, it's 10x. If it's negative, it's 4 to 7 times more powerful. So when I say negative things out loud, it's 40 to 70 times more likely that that will happen or cause a result that won't be good for me than if I just didn't say anything.
All right, so I hope you guys caught that. I just want that to sink in. I know it was a quick video, but when we think negatively, it's 4 to 7 times more powerful than a positive thought. And when we speak it, it's 10x. So it's 40 to 70 times more powerful. Okay? Now, don't get me wrong, when you speak a positive thought, when you speak something positive, it's 4 times, it's 10x more powerful than when you think a positive thought. So a lot of people don't realize how powerful or important positive affirmations are. They're extremely important. Okay. So when you're thinking positively, that's great. But when you're saying something positive, what you're doing is you're conditioning the way you think, because as you say it over and over again, repetition is the mother of learning. So it's the way to calibrate or to recalibrate your thought patterns. And that's why it's so important, because what you think about, you become. As a man thinketh, so he becomes. It's the exact same thing. So you got to understand that when you speak it out loud, if you're constantly, I don't care what it is, if you're constantly saying something negative, even if it's your default, you don't realize that you are creating your reality with your intention. It's with your intention. If you always think you're going to have bad things that are happening, if you only focus on the bad things that are happening, then you'll get more of it. And I want to make sure every one of you understand that, because I want you to think about something. And I shared this before, and I don't know how many people have ever heard this, but you know, when it comes to our children, I want you to imagine something, because I just talked about how my daughter is my heart running around outside of my body. If you can understand or imagine what that would feel like, every time I see her, even now, it's the same. If I haven't been around her in a while, my mom, she'll tease my daughter because she'll be connected to me. No matter where I'm in the room, she's like right here at 15 years old still. The same way she was when she was 3. But I want you to think about your children. Or if you don't have children, if you have nieces and nephews. And I want you to imagine something. I want you to imagine if in the other room, wherever you're at right now, all of a sudden you heard loud commotion and you heard shouting. And someone was shouting and it seemed like an argument, but one-sided. And what I mean by that is all you heard is that person shouting. And they were yelling and they were saying, "You are stupid. You'll never amount to anything. You're horrible. No one will ever love you. No one would ever like you. Why would anyone hire you? You're just going to be good for nothing." And you heard that yelling. You heard it and you got up because you're like, who's getting verbally abused? Now, I need to see everyone's face. I want you to ask yourself a question. What if you opened the door and you went into the room and you saw an adult yelling at your nephew or niece or yelling at your own child? Do me a favor. I want to know in the chats what you're feeling like right now. Because I don't know about you, but as a father, they'd have to put me under the prison. Does that make sense? It wouldn't happen. They wouldn't make it out of that room alive. If I found out that they were yelling, angry, they were abusing my daughter verbally, they wouldn't make it out alive. Tamara is one of the most loving people I know, and she said she would kill them. Do you understand what I'm saying? They wouldn't make it out. Why am I saying this? Because I want you to think about something else. Imagine you're driving and you're sitting in the passenger seat and your niece or your daughter or your son is sitting in the driver's seat, and they have the GPS going and they make the wrong turn. They make a wrong turn. And you look at them and say, "You're so stupid. Why did you make the wrong turn? Now we're going to be late." Can we agree if you talk to your child like that way, Child Protective Services would be involved? So I'm sharing this with all of you because the child that is you, that is inside, the child that you are, that pulled you through the struggles in your life, that took you through the challenges and made it out. Do you realize you are here right now? You made it. but you use those same negative conversations to yourself. Let's be real. How many of us have made a wrong turn and in our mind said, oh my gosh, you're so stupid, now you'll be late? Do you see how we talk to ourselves? You would never talk to your children this way. And so I want you to start to be aware of your own thoughts, and here's how you do it. You got to think of yourself as your own child. Is the way I'm talking to myself right now, would I talk to my daughter that way? If the answer is no, then I need to start respecting myself, and my internal conversation needs to start to be modified. My internal conversation is what helps me to be my compass in my communication and my conversation out loud. And it's so important. And so I was on a new social media platform, and I was doing a talk, and I was describing on how to do this. And here's what I said. One important thing that you can do, a tip that I was coaching a few people on, is to do yourself a favor. Take note of this. Write yourself a love letter at night. You know, how amazing would it be if you woke up in the morning and your significant other, you look, they had to go to work, but they spent the time to write you a love letter. And it was on your nightstand. And it said, I love you. You are amazing. You are going to be incredible today. You're going to do all great things today. And by the way, someone's off of mute right now. I don't know who it is. I can't see them. But someone, if you could check yourself, you're on mute. You're off of mute right now. So anyway, so imagine you pick up this love letter. How would you feel knowing that your significant other took the time to do that quietly while you were asleep, and then when you get up, you see all these amazing things about you on that letter? Can we agree that would be pretty amazing, right? Some of the men know Valentine's Day is coming up. They already got some thoughts right now. You can't use that if she's on here because she knows it came from me, right? So what I want to tell you is, you want to become that significant other. And what I mean is, you want to write yourself a love letter of who you are, of how amazing you are, of how you want to show up in the day. And you want to place that love letter on your nightstand so that when you wake up in the morning and you turn to your nightstand, you are reminding yourself of how great you are. And if you start the day every single day reminding yourself of how great you are, and you calibrate your day, you can start like that way. And I don't know who Verdell is, but someone said they're on mute. They should be on mute right now. So start your day that way, because it'll calibrate the rest of your day. And I want you to think of, so as we start thinking about positive thinking and how you want to show up in the world, and having respect for yourself and talking to your internal self with the same respect that you would your child, you're going to start to make a shift. See, when it comes to adults, if I ask adults, what do you want in life? Most adults won't be able to tell me what they want in life. Or if they do tell me, it'll be extremely vague. In fact, when it comes to being extremely vague, here's what that means. They really never think about it. So when you're talking to them about it, that's the first time they've actually really thought about it. Okay? So in other words, they never think about what they really want. But if you ask a child, hey, what do you want? They'll tell you what they want right now. Like right now, I want ice cream. That's what I want right now. What kind of ice cream? Strawberry. They know immediately. You ask an adult, hey, what do you want for dinner? Man, they'll have their brain will shut down. We don't know what we want. But you know what adults do know? Adults know what they don't want. You ask someone, hey, what type of man do you want? Or what type of woman do you want? You ask them, a woman will say, I can tell you the man I don't want. And they will go through that list and they will know exactly what they don't want. But here's the problem with that thinking. If you don't understand the way your brain works and the way the universe works, it's cool to know what you don't want. But if you're always thinking about what you don't want, you're manifesting that thing into your life. So if you say, I don't want bills, or I don't want, I hope today is not bad. You're going to get a bad day because your intention is on the bad. See, the universe doesn't hear, I hope today is not. All they hear is bad day. Because you're focused on a bad day, you keep getting a bad day. And I want you to understand that, because we got to recalibrate our thoughts and the way we have conversations with people. You'll notice when I'm on here, I'm always speaking to the amazing person inside of you, because that's the person I'm trying to feed. If you feed that person will become the strong part of who you are, versus the doubter and the worrier. Okay, so the reason this is, and the reason why we're discussing this, is because the next part is going into all out massive action. And when you're starting to do something new, if you're aware of how you think, you can kind of figure out a way to stay positive when you're doing something new. If you already started to calibrate your thoughts and to think positive, it becomes easier to do something new. And it's just the little ways that we convince ourselves to stay the same, because our comfort zone is comfortable. Even if it's not, we're used to it and we don't want to change. For instance, how many of you, by show of hands, or you could put in a group or in a group chat, how many of you, when you think about doing or contacting people, you get a little nervous, or you have in the past? Okay. Now, here's another question. How many of you have maybe had 10 presentations and maybe everyone said no, and you start doubting yourself or doubting that this will work? By a show of hands. Okay. Now, we would say that that's normal, right? No. Here's why. Because it's the way you condition yourself based on the way you think. Because if I told you about another situation, so how many of you know that if you're going for job interviews, you don't quit, you just keep going until you get the job? So why is this any different, y'all? See, we got to break that negative thought pattern. You know what I mean? New people I've heard say, well, I've talked to 20 people and everyone said no. Look, if you went to get a degree and you were going to get a job, you would go through as many interviews as it takes to get a job. But you're sitting here crying about talking to 20 people and no one said anything. Now, I'm not saying that to be negative. I'm trying to give you a perspective. Because when it comes to being successful at something, you're going to have to take all out massive action. There it is. Break it until you make it. And it's true. And Tamara knows this because she works in a salon. Jocelyn Driscoll used to do hair. And I'm going to tell you something. I was a barber for 4 years in college. So there's something that I want to share with you that I learned. I learned it playing an instrument. I learned it as a barber. And then I realized something. It applies to everything new that you're doing. And when you catch this, you are going to become a master at ACN if you allow yourself to become one. Here's what happened. I started cutting hair. The owner of the shop, his name, rest in peace, Charles Southern, one of the first Black millionaires in San Diego. Okay, old school. He was around during the Great Depression. There's a lot, if you learn about San Diego and Black history, he was one of the first. He was a beast. And I was blessed enough to learn and be apprentice in his shop. And he taught me some things. He said, you're great cutting your own hair. I like that. But here's what I want you to do. I'm going to send all the walk-ins your way. And I want you to be here in the beginning. I want you to be here as much as you can. He said, Julian, I know you're going to be part-time, but I need you to be here as much as you can in the beginning. And I'm going to send all the walk-ins your way. And he said, don't lose faith. There's going to come a time where you're going to get one person in the chair, and all of a sudden, this is what he told me. All of a sudden, you're going to look down and you're going to see the head differently. And I was like, I didn't even know what that meant. I'm like, okay. But I was coachable. So I did what he said. I was part-time, but I sat there and I got all the walk-ins. I was there hours upon hours, even though I was part-time in the beginning, because I was listening to my mentor. And here's what happened. I was putting out decent haircuts, but even when I would cut hair, it felt like I could feel all the hair falling. And it was a little bit stressful because I really had to focus. And one day, here's what happened. I looked away and I looked back at the person I was cutting, and their head looked different. All of a sudden, I saw the art of, because cutting hair, being a barber, especially being a black barber, all the brothers are already nodding their heads. You mess your edge, someone messes your edge up. I already, Mr. Red said, I already see you. He's out of there. So all of a sudden, I looked up at the head and it was different. And I saw what I was doing in a different light. When that clicks in, that's the shift into greatness. That's when you're going from a novice to becoming a master. I promise you, Jocelyn Driscoll could tell you the same thing. Tamara could tell you the same thing. It took repetition. And there's one thing that allows you to continue. The understanding that failure is necessary. I want you to eliminate the negative connotation from the word failure. It is not a bad word. Failure is good. Failure is a necessary component to success. And when you get massive failure moving towards a goal, you're actually having massive learning. See, most people don't realize that. I'm going to sidestep for a second because you got to understand why we don't know this. It's because we weren't taught in school. We were educated. There's a difference. There's a difference between learning and education. See, education means I can go up to the teacher and I can say, hey, what you're going to talk about today, is that on the test? And if it isn't on the test, I can check out, because if it was about learning, then I wouldn't have done that. It's about getting a grade so I can get a piece of paper so that I can make X amount of money at my job. But true learning is what we did when we were babies. It's trying to stand and then falling over and then falling over and then getting back up and then understanding and starting to feel what balance is and then getting back up and then having the courage to take a step, because as children, we knew that we were limitless. And I had to take that side step to talk about learning, because your failures are necessary components to winning. And if you're not winning big in life, you're not failing enough. That's the truth. See, Natasha will tell you, I tweak some things with our organization and the way we do business because of what happened in March in the shutdown. And there's no way I was going to try to do the same style of business while we were in COVID. I'm just going to be blunt with you guys. But I didn't do it. I didn't say, here, guys, here's what we're doing. I threw myself into it massively. And I reached out to over 1,000 people in a short period of time. The reason why I won that contest with the 100 squares in October is because I reached out to so many people. I threw myself in the fire so that I could be forged. I'm not saying that to big myself up. I'm saying that to share with you that if you want to have success, you got to be willing to do that. Joyce Brewer, you got to be willing to not talk to onesies, twosies, but to throw yourself into massive exposures. Belinda Batiste, you got to stop worrying about what this person is going to say or might say, or what this person might say, and throw yourself into massive exposures. It's just like riding a bike. The only way you find your balance is to keep going. That's it. And so the reason why I learned to be a master barber is because of massive failure, but on a regular basis where it clicked. And I'm going to tell you guys something. Every great person on this planet that we all love have done the same thing. If you look at Kobe Bryant, this is like just a year, almost a year he's been gone. Kobe Bryant was so good because he decided to wake up earlier than everyone else. This is way back in high school, so that he can have more practices in the day than everyone else. And here's what he said. Here's what he said. Because I practice more every day, by the summertime, I'm so much better than everyone else, and they can't catch me because of the amount of practices I did this year, what was 5 years versus their 1 year. So I'm so far ahead, they can't catch me. It has nothing to do with me being special. It has everything to do with him willing to throw himself into his craft. And the reason why we get afraid is because we see the master, but we don't see the fact that when he was horrible, he threw himself in. The other person that had the same type of work ethic as him, that is talked about in the same conversations, is Michael Jordan. Kobe Bryant paved the way for a LeBron James to even happen, but he has that same work ethic. And I'm talking about these people because these are names you know. But look at Jay-Z. If you look at rap, when Jay-Z first came out, if you know who he is, he had a weird sounding voice. And if you saw him in picture, you're like, ooh, that dude looks a little weird. He looks a little strange, right? And I'm just being blunt. But he threw himself into his craft. And then all of a sudden, that same moment where I looked up and saw the head differently, he saw his craft differently. You know who else did that? And I'm picking these guys for a reason. Lil Wayne, whether you like him or not, I remember when he started working on project after project, you couldn't listen to the radio without hearing 3 or 4 songs that he was on at the same time. His work ethic was sick. He was in the studio more than anything. Same thing happened with Drake. People said, you can't go from soap operas, you can't go from Degrassi and become a rapper and a singer. And he worked on his craft. Kanye, before he went a little cuckoo, he worked on his craft so much that he became great. I'm going to tell you what it is, because all of you have it. All of you have it. Steve Harvey, the same thing. Exactly, Michael. All of you, Kevin Hart, same thing. They all have the same it factor. What is it? What is it? They're realizing, write this down. They're realizing, it's the realization of the God within. It's tapping into the source. And see, people don't understand. There is no other Al Thomas out there. He's Al Thomas. Al Thomas is going to be Al Thomas in mortgage. He's going to be Al Thomas in banking. He's going to be Al Thomas in real estate, because he understands the process of mastery. Here's what it is, and this is so amazing. And I hope one of you catch this right now. It's when you can do something so much that it becomes second nature, to the point that it becomes you, and your DNA comes out as an expression of doing that thing. That is the God within. No one does network marketing like Al Thomas. No one does network marketing like Simon Abood. No one does network marketing like James Adlam. Why? Because they immerse themselves in a process of mastery, and then they absorb those concepts to the point that doing them became a part of their personality. Them, who they are, comes out in their craft. That's when you become great. And that's what it's going to take for you to win big. Immersing yourself and not just falling in love with the process, but you have to be confident in the process and know that it's the same process in anything in your life. And if you start to recalibrate your thoughts, understanding that negative thoughts are more powerful than positive, you start to think powerfully. You start to have positive conversations internally because you're talking to yourself the way you would talk to your son or daughter. You start to write yourself love letters and wake up to the person you want to become reading that love letter, loving yourself. Then you're going to be able to have enough to love everyone else. And when you understand that failure is not negative and it is the necessary component to gain balance in your new endeavor and and understanding as you go through the mastery process and immerse yourself in it, you win. You win. And no one can keep that from you because it was planted in you as your seed of greatness. 400 trillion to 1. That was the chance of you showing up on this planet. So you already showed up victorious. You just got to remember how great you truly are. And so with that, Mr. Thomas, I want to pass it back to you, sir. I appreciate all of you for being on here and allowing me to have this conversation with every one of you. And I pray that you caught it because this is the next evolution. We're going into a different dimension right now. Do me a favor. I'm going to be posting a lot about how to do social media. I'm going to be posting a lot about these type of conversations on my social media, on my IG. I'm going to put it in the chat. So do me a favor. If you don't have Instagram right now, stop it. You need to get an Instagram. Oh, Belinda Batiste, Pat Robinson, I saw you guys follow me. So I see you getting up on your game. I'm very excited for you ladies. So here, let me put this in the chat for everyone. And you can start following what I'm doing and copy whatever you want to copy. That's what I'm here for. I love all of you. And I can't wait to see each and every single one of you at the top. Here's my handle, guys. Mr. Thomas, back to you.
Mr. Lewis, thank you so much. Is your daughter awake? Is she up?
No, she's not up. No.
I was going to have the gang sing happy birthday. She's right 15 years old today. That's amazing. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Hey, I also want to, you're welcome. I also want to highlight what he said. She is his heart running outside of his body. And boy, did he capitalize that. I mean, perfect. I thought about parents probably visualize that's so true. And you gave them a word to understand their heart running outside their body, looking at them. He also said, write yourself a love letter. Remind yourself of how great you are. You know, I said, wow, that's good. And I started writing. Failure is necessary for success. Failure is necessary for success. Let that sink in. Ladies and gentlemen, can we show, I mean, look, same shirt, same, look at it, almost same color. Can we show Mr. Julian Lewis some love today? Come on, let's give him some love.